Welcome to the audio edition of Success Seeds, written by Foster Hibbard. Seeds, the miracle of seeds, the magnificent redwood trees, the tallest growing thing on earth, grow from a seed weighing 1/2500th of an ounce. This majesty typifies the abundance of the universe. Have you ever counted the seeds in one slice of watermelon? I stopped counting at 100 and wondered how many there were in the entire watermelon. 1,000? 2,000? What an astonishing example of the abundance of the universe. Let's assume that there are 1,000 seeds in a watermelon. By planting them, we would have 1,000 watermelon plants the following year, each with several watermelons or several millions of seeds, etc., etc. The idea for each of us is to see the universe multiplying, never holding back. We are a part of that universe, and today, every day, is our day to make a commitment to be more affluent than ever before. Enthusiasm. When ancient Greece was at the epitome of its grandeur about 2,500 years ago, there were two words in the language which have great meaning for us. The first word, en, meant in or within. The second word, theos, meant God. Combined, they meant God within, and combined, they gave birth to our word, enthusiasm. The Greeks would describe a person who was radiating enthusiasm as having God within. Surely there is no finer compliment that can be paid to another human being. Wouldn't you think that since the Greeks placed such importance upon this quality, this powerful positive emotion, 2,500 years ago, that we, in this modern age, would place the same emphasis on enthusiasm? And yet, how many people do you know, on the fingers of one hand, who are sincerely, genuinely enthusiastic? From this moment forward, think enthusiastically, talk enthusiastically, act enthusiastically, and feel an exciting, dynamic surge in your life. Get excited. How can you expect anybody else to get excited about you if you're not excited about yourself? You have to get excited about who you are before anyone else can get excited about you. Recognize that you are unique in all of eternity. It is estimated that approximately 17 billion people have walked on planet Earth so far. And of these 17 billion, no two have ever been exactly alike. You are one of a kind. How exciting to realize that there never has been anybody like you. There is nobody like you anywhere on Earth today, and there never will be anybody like you in all eternity, because the universe never duplicates itself. It all boils down to the fact that if any one of us does not fulfill that purpose for which he or she was placed on Earth, evolution is slowed down, because nobody can do what you do exactly the way you do it. Very simply, that means that there is no competition. Joy. Joy holds a tremendous fascination. The theory that joy heals all phases of our lives, including physical ailments, has been extensively tested and confirmed. Years ago, there was a Japanese doctor who subscribed to this theory. It ran over and over through his mind like a haunting refrain. Laughter heals, laughter heals, laughter heals the human body. Intellectually, the idea seemed absurd, but it continued to stir, live, and grow within him. Finally, he decided to put the theory to a strenuous test. If it worked, he would make a career out of helping people back to health through laugh therapy. If it didn't work, he would dismiss the idea once and for all. At a nearby tuberculosis sanatorium, he tested his theory with some of their most seriously ill patients by asking for a few seconds of continuous laughter each day. Amazingly, within 3 months, some of those patients walked out of the sanatorium completely healed. To this day, That doctor is traveling throughout the world and lecturing on the healing power of laughter. No matter how you are feeling at this moment, start laughing, and the sunshine of joy will brighten your day. Guilt. The major problem with guilt is that it inevitably leads to unconscious self-punishment. There is no reason in the world why we should keep punishing ourselves. Therefore, let's dispel all guilt. But how? Since all guilt is an invention of the mind, self-inflicted, it can be eradicated by the same mind that created it. We have been given the power of choice, and that is what makes us different from all things on earth. We are different from everything else on earth because only mankind has been given this power of choice. From now on, let's choose to be free from guilt. Emma Smiley, a marvelous author of positive thinking books, has written that it is possible to change a weed into a beautiful plant. Therefore, it is possible for us to change and to be healed when we no longer condemn ourselves. Get excited. Did you ever see a rose straining to the point of exhaustion, forcing itself to open? Of course not, because everything in the universe flows naturally and easily, and when you and I turn to enthusiasm, things fall into place for us, naturally, easily, and beautifully. Here are 2 simple words that will help you build greater enthusiasm. They are, get excited. As we say, get excited, either silently or aloud to ourselves, the subconscious mind is stimulated. Get excited flows throughout our entire network of nerves and generates a vibration we call enthusiasm. Remember the 2 words, get excited. Remember to frequently repeat these words every day, silently if you are with others and aloud if you are alone, until you feel the dynamic gift of enthusiasm pulsating through your body, vibrating every cell and serenading you with a song of great joy. The importance of money. When I hear people playing down the importance of money, calling it evil and sinful, I remember some of the Sunday morning sermons that I have heard over the years. The ministers would expound on poverty as a virtue, about God obviously loving the poor because he made so many of them. Why is God always blamed for everything that goes wrong? Why should there be virtue in a lack of any kind? Nature is totally abundant, and since we are a part of nature, why shouldn't we be a part of that abundance? There is no virtue in lack of any kind. How can lack of love, lack of health, lack of career success, or lack of money be called virtuous? If poverty were a virtue, no churches would be built, no colleges endowed, nor would any charities be supported. To the degree that we become ever more affluent, are we able to do good works within our society? Aspire to prosperity, commit to prosperity, and always work toward a more prosperous and happy life. The plan of the universe. Let us accept the fact that the universe has a plan for you and me, a unique plan that was never set forth for any other person in the history of the world. In all eternity, the plan that has been set forth for you to carry out is yours alone. That plan is a plan of rampant abundance, as the universe knows only abundance. It knows no lack because it is abundance, and it knows no failure because it is success. That which created us created only success, and then sets us free to move into our proper place. However, it is our responsibility to move into our success. Free will, the power of choice, sets us apart from all other living entities on earth. Every moment of each day, choose to think positively, speak positively, act positively, and to radiate your emotions positively. In doing so, automatically the demonstration, the physicality and the results will be exactly what you want. The danger of guilt. The great danger of guilt is that it always develops the feeling of, I don't deserve, I don't deserve, I don't deserve the good things in life. That is absurd. Has anybody ever lived in the kind of house you want? Then you deserve it too. Is anybody earning the income you want? Then you deserve it too. When we are feeling guilty, we feel that we don't deserve any of the things that we want. For instance, a salesperson may say, "This commission is going to be the largest of my career, and the transaction is falling into place more easily than any of my previous transactions." Mind-boggling though it may seem, he or she makes some foolish move at the last minute, the transaction collapses, and the commission takes wings. The salesperson is left standing there, stunned, muttering in disbelief, "What happened?" Deep-seated guilt, rooted within the subconscious mind and radiating a feeling of being undeserving, destroyed the transaction. Achieving goals. There are only two deterrents to any person's achieving, acquiring, or becoming whatever he or she wants in a lifetime. Those deterrents are fear and guilt. They act as inner walls that stand between us and the goals we set in life. Not only are these walls within us, but they are self-created, or would self-inflicted be more accurate. Of the various fears that people have, the greatest for most is the fear of not having enough money, the fear of not having enough money to pay bills, to buy a new car, to take that special vacation, to live in a certain house, to send the children to a specific school, for retirement, for investments, etc. It is our responsibility never to minimize the importance of money. Increasing life's abundance. We are all seeking an increase in one or more areas of our lives. We may want an increase in love, in health, in career success, or in prosperity. Because of this desire for increase, joy is extremely important, for it has been called the first law of increase in the universe. Joy is the key which enables an endless avalanche of abundance to pour into our lives. The totality of love, health, success, and money that we now have is the result of the degree of joy that we have experienced in our lives up to this moment. This means that at any moment of any day, we can begin to express more joy and, thereby, increase the flow of abundance into our lives. Children of love. You and I are children of love, children of a loving Father Creator. It is said that we are created in His image. Now is the time for us to stop refusing His endless gifts. We need only believe Him, as He constantly says, "Son, daughter, all that I have is yours. I created you. I maintain you. I sustain you. All that I have is yours. Why do you accept so little?" Love sees only perfection, knows only how to give, and withholds nothing. We all want something different. Therefore, whatever affluence means to you, whatever is important to you, is exactly what you should have. We have no right to have less because, as rich children of a loving Father, it is our inheritance to have all that we truly want. Power of laughter. Some years ago, while travelling in Russia, Norman Cousins, then editor of Saturday Review of Literature, contracted a rare and very serious ailment. Upon his return to this country, he was told by the foremost authority on the ailment that only 1 out of 500 ever recovered from this disease, and that he, the specialist, had yet to see one. Norman Cousins remembered that, somewhere in his travels, he had heard about the healing power of laughter. Each day, Mrs. Cousins ran humorous Marx Brothers films and segments of Candid Camera while her husband forced himself to laugh. He was completely cured within 3 months, has had no recurrence of the ailment, and has a career lecturing on the healing power of laughter. If you have a problem relating to health, love, career, or money, resolve this day to begin laughing your troubles away. Accept your gifts. I am convinced that the universe is constantly offering us everything we need. However, it is our responsibility to accept that which is being offered. You should know that whatever comes to you is already yours, or it would not have been offered to you. For instance, your neighbour is cleaning out his garage and finds something that he thinks you would enjoy. It looks almost new and probably costs several $100s. The initial response of most people to this gift would be, "Oh no, I couldn't accept that. It's beautiful and hardly been used. I'm sure you'll find a need for it, but Thank you anyway. That is totally wrong. What right do you have to refuse this gift? It would not be coming to you if you had not earned it through a variety of kindnesses to others along the way. That gift to you is seed planting. You represent the soil, and the giver's harvest will return from somewhere else. If the soil refuses the seed, there can never be a harvest. Accept gifts with the realization that this must belong to you, because nothing ever comes to you that you have not already earned. Words generate emotions. Did you ever stop to realize that every idea you think about generates an emotion within you? Emotions are not self-generating. It takes a conscious idea within the brain to stimulate, awaken, and create an emotion in the subconscious. Therefore, by selecting a word, such as enthusiasm, for instance, we create the feeling of enthusiasm in our solar plexus. Every word in our vocabulary, every word in our language has, within itself, all that it needs to bring itself into manifestation, into action. For instance, merely thinking the word enthusiasm again and again will create the feeling of enthusiasm in the solar plexus, which is the body's center of feelings. In addition, the words get excited, repeated silently or aloud, will create a feeling of enthusiasm in the solar plexus. Words are the expression of ideas, and ideas create emotions. Select your thoughts and your words very carefully, because you are constantly becoming whatever you think about. The greatest mistake. One of the ways we condemn ourselves is by regretting the mistakes of the past. Was there ever an occasion when you didn't go into action on something that needed to be done? The greatest of all mistakes is not going into action, not doing something, not making a decision and acting on it. Have you ever heard anyone say, "I'm on the horns of a dilemma, I have a decision to make and I don't know which way to go"? If you ask the same person 2 years later what decision he finally made on that problem, he will probably reply, "Oh, I'm still working on it. After all, I don't want to make another mistake." Years later, that person will be lowered into his grave, still never having made a decision for fear of making a mistake. Remember, the greatest mistake of all is making no decision, because without a decision, there can be no action. 2 powerful words. 2 words which have great influence in increasing the flow of money into our lives are expect and accept. It isn't enough to repeat money affirmations or to engage in a variety of money methods and techniques unless we also expect a flow of money into our lives. Expectancy is creative and magnetic. We attract to ourselves, good or bad, whatever we are expecting. Once we are in that magnetic, attracting state called expectancy, ideas and opportunities start moving into our lives. All too often we turn our backs on these opportunities, refuse to accept them as belonging to us, and deny their acceptance. For the next 21 days, expect the best of all good things, and, as you see exciting miracles approaching, reach out and accept them, knowing that they are truly yours. Forgive yourself. In forgiving yourself, it isn't necessary to go back over your life looking for mistakes. Set yourself free from all regrets and all guilt by silently repeating, "I forgive myself," over and over again. There is a great spiritual leader in Japan by the name of Taniguchi. He is in his 80s, has about 3 million followers, and has spent a lifetime studying the great teachings of all the ages. Taniguchi believes that all of the teachings of history can be summarized in 4 words. Forgive me, which, when repeated, will help to diminish all guilt, and thank you, which, when repeated, creates gratitude and reduces fear. Since guilt and fear are 2 of the major deterrents to happiness, the 4 words, forgive me and thank you, are indescribably powerful tools in this business of successful living. Get excited! People who get excited about who they are also get excited about their careers and about the individuals to whom they extend their services. They don't know the meaning of the word work. There is no such thing as work for these people because they love what they are doing. Each morning isn't the typical another day to get through, but rather an enthusiastic another day to give myself to and to give to myself. For these power-packed people, there is only giving service, top quality, loving service to more and more people. Let this be your day to exude greater enthusiasm. Enthusiasm that acts like a surfboard to carry you on wave after wave of unlimited energy. Silently repeat the words enthusiasm and get excited over and over as you go about your daily activities. Just these repetitions alone will make a dynamic difference in your day, every day. This is your day for greater enthusiasm, so get excited. Make your life come alive. I believe that we have a responsibility to ourselves to do whatever is required to lift ourselves from the depths of depression. Otherwise, of what value are we to mankind or to ourselves? What contribution are we making to the evolution of mankind if, out of our depression, we are putting forth a half-hearted 10% effort, going through the motions and just getting by on a day-to-day basis? Throw your inner switch into overdrive and feel that surge of power pouring through you. Know that the universe is never found wanting. When you make a demand upon it, the universe comes pouring in with energy. Since energy and ideas are inseparable, a sudden infusion of ideas rushes into your mind when energy surges through you. These exciting ideas dispel negative attitudes, lack of confidence, and reluctance to go into action doing those things that make life come alive. Time is priceless. We often hear the expression, time is money, and of course it's completely true. However, have you ever asked yourself how much your time is worth? It's priceless, isn't it? Time lost is the only thing that cannot be recovered. Love lost can be regained. A career lost can be retrieved. Health and money lost can be regained, but time lost is gone forever. Life is nothing other than time, and when you lose or waste time, you have lost a part of your life that is irretrievable. I urge you to place value on your time and to see yourself as worth that amount. For instance, if you believe that you are worth $50 an hour, think of yourself from now on as a $50 an hour person. When you take a 30-minute coffee break, remind yourself that it was a $25 coffee break. If it was worth it, fine. If not, begin to monitor and supervise your time more closely because time is life and life is priceless. Ignorance causes mistakes. It would be a great blessing if you and I could assume the attitude that every mistake each of us makes is based upon the information and wisdom that we have acquired up to that moment. In other words, all mistakes are based on ignorance. Had we known better, we would not have made any one particular mistake. Any mistake we have ever made in our lives was based on information and wisdom we had accumulated up to that moment. Everybody is doing his or her best at all times. If we were wiser, we would not make mistakes. I am completely convinced that everybody on earth is constantly acting upon accumulated information. I believe, therefore, we are set free from feeling the need ever again of accusing anyone of anything. Rise and shine. Here's an exercise that will help you get started in the morning. First, sit in total privacy, complete solitude with your eyes closed. Second, slowly start repeating the word enthusiasm, silently or aloud. This simple exercise will send the feeling of enthusiasm throughout your body and lift you to a higher vibratory plane. Feel your tensions dispelled and all of the power of the universe surge through you. Decree that today is greater than any day you have ever lived in your life. Everything prior to this moment is already ancient history, irretrievable, and anything from this moment forward is beyond control. But this day is the greatest day of your lifetime. Get excited about today. Live each moment to the fullest and make each day the greatest day of your life. Laugh your way to health. More and more people are accepting the premise that prolonged laughter on a daily basis will heal many illnesses. It's exciting to realize that a universal law that works in any area of life works in all areas of life. Therefore, if laughter heals illness of the body, it also heals illness of the pocketbook and of relationships. Laughter heals by dispelling the stress which blocks the flow of love, health, and money. Have you ever left a funny movie feeling exhausted? This was an indication of how much stress you released through laughter. The next day you felt marvelously free of stress, renewed and energized. By using laughter to rid ourselves of the stress that blocks the normal flow of universal energy and ideas, love, health and money are free to pour into our lives. Developing your qualities. Each of us is here for a particular reason. We are not here by happenstance. We are here for a definite purpose, and I find that exciting. It's extremely important that we get excited about who we are. We need to let enthusiasm pour out from us in wave after wave of energy. Enthusiasm is within each of us, but unfortunately, it's lying dormant within many. Nevertheless, it is there. Most people think they have to find a certain missing quality someplace outside of themselves and, in some way, place it within themselves. The fact is that every good quality is already within each of us, waiting to be awakened. Take any quality you wish to develop, concentrate on it, and start acting as if it already were a part of your personality. Gradually, it will awaken and go into action, doing what it knows best to be. The technique is simple, but not easy. It requires persistence and determination, but the rewards are worth every ounce of energy you put into it. Missing the mark. Archery was extremely popular at the time of England's Queen Elizabeth I, and it was to these archery contests that we have traced the word sin. When the archer missed the bullseye, the announcer would shout, "He sinned, he sinned." It meant nothing other than that he had missed the bullseye. But during the following 4 centuries, mankind has used this simple word to lay guilt on hundreds of millions of people throughout the world. From now on, whenever you hear or see the word sin, remember that it means nothing other than missing the mark. Whenever you miss what you are aiming at in life, you are simply making a mistake. Nothing more serious and no cause for guilt. Simply aim again and, if necessary, again and again until you reach your own personal goals in life. Releasing resentment. During the next few days, I urge you to make a list of all those people toward whom you hold resentment. Next, sit quietly with your eyes closed and take one name at a time. In your imagination, see that person's face before you. Silently call the person by name and say over and over, "I forgive you," until you feel a release of resentment in your solar plexus. It doesn't matter how long it takes. All that matters is letting go of the resentment. After you feel the release, cross out the name on your list and accept the fact that you have now forgiven that person. Gradually go down your list of names, moving on to the next name only after you have felt a definite release from the previous name. This powerful technique will give you more energy and ideas than you have had in years. Service equals money. Have you ever stopped to realize that money and service are synonymous? An equation that illustrates this idea is service equals money. The amount of service we give equals the amount of money we receive. Since there is no limit to the amount of service you can give, there is no limit to the amount of money you can earn. Every human being is a package of unlimited service. As long as ideas and energy are unlimited, we are unlimited in the amount of service we can give. Of course, there are only so many hours in each day, but we can multiply ourselves through additional associates, partners, branch offices, etc. To the degree that we increase our service to others, we increase the avalanche of money that is waiting to pour in upon us. Here's a money affirmation to memorize and frequently say during each day. An endless avalanche of money now pours down upon me. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is an expression of life itself. The power of the word enthusiasm vibrates with the oo sound. The master teachers, down through the ages, knew that every sound in a language impresses itself upon each cell, tissue, and fiber of the body. In addition, each sound in our vocabulary centers upon one particular area of our body. Ah sound centers on the heart. E sound centers on the middle of the brain. O sound centers on the solar plexus. And oo sound centers on the base of the cranium at the back of the neck. The master teachers knew that by concentrating upon this point, while silently repeating the word enthusiasm, a far greater dynamism is created. Several times during the day, spend a few moments concentrating on the base of your cranium by silently repeating and prolonging the word enthusiasm, and feel an exciting wave of vitality surging through you. Q plus A equals C. Here is a formula for increased money in your life. Q plus A equals C. Quantity plus quality plus attitudes equals compensation. The quantity of service you give plus the quality of the service you give plus the attitudes with which you give that service equals your compensation. Since ideas about service are unlimited, we can work at giving ever more service throughout our life. Throughout life, we can increase the quality of service we give by learning more about our business, product, or service we offer, and the needs of those to whom we give service. And finally, as long as we live, we can work on improving our attitudes to become a more loving person who gives more loving service. As a result of all of this, our compensation has no alternative but to increase accordingly. Self-Condemnation. It is extremely important to realize that condemnation and self-condemnation are one and the same. Everything we think or speak toward another person impresses our own subconscious mind and is turned toward ourselves. A simple sentence such as, "Do you know what you did to me?" permeates the subconscious and triggers fear, anger, resentment, and guilt. Conversely, as we radiate love toward others, we are filling ourselves with love. All love is self-love, just as all criticism is self-criticism. The Latin word condemnare, to condemn, also means to damn. When we condemn or damn, we are actually condemning or damning ourselves and relegating ourselves to failure. The whole human being. We are only whole human beings when we have an abundance of love, of health, of success in our chosen career, and an abundance of money. We know that all things are the results of thought, feeling, and action. Therefore, if we are experiencing a lack of love, health, career success, or money, the obvious correction must first be made in our thoughts. With more positive thoughts, our feelings will improve. Improved feelings will motivate positive actions, and that, in turn, will result in greater happiness in all areas of our lives. The scales of life. Have you ever wondered about the fairness of the individual who receives his salary but only works when he thinks the boss is watching? Is he really getting away with anything? Definitely not. Deep down within him, below the conscious mind, there is an intelligence that tells him he doesn't deserve that paycheck. Somewhere along the way, illness, accident, or misfortune will balance the scales. Ultimately, the scales always balance. It has been taught in many different ways down through the ages. As you give, so shall you receive. Cause and effect, the law of compensation, and the law of karma. Some people feel that the scales are balanced in the form of God-given punishment. I am totally convinced that all punishment is self-punishment. Each individual's guilt will, eventually, punish him or her in some way. In the simplest way possible, we always receive back whatever we put out. Our communication network. Our nerves act as a communication network throughout the body. Each idea is transmitted by the nerves into every cell, tissue, and fiber. In addition, the nerve network communicates emotions and controls the entire musculature of the body. Because of this, we find ourselves doing whatever we are thinking about. When we become constricted by tension or fear, the nerve ends start turning in, cutting off the normal flow of energy. The more tense and stress-filled we become, the more tired and exhausted we become. In a case of panic, we are totally immobilized. Our muscles are unable to move because they are controlled by a constricted nervous system. On the other hand, laughter is a powerful, positive expression that releases tension, which releases the nerve ends, enabling an increased flow of energy throughout the body. Refreshing, renewing, and rejuvenating laughter. Enthusiasm is dynamic. The enthusiasm center of the body is at the back of the neck, near the base of the cranium, and directly behind the power center of the body, the voice box. Whatever you think, whatever you speak, whether silently or aloud, the voice box conveys out into the pure energy of the universe. Enthusiasm powers our words as a liquid propellant powers a rocket off the launching pad. Each word is an actual seed energized by enthusiasm, moving out, taking root, and returning to its source as a harvest after its kind. All thoughts and words are powered out into the universe by enthusiasm. Therefore, the individual who thinks, speaks, and acts with dynamism finds that life falls into place beautifully and excitingly. Who am I? Since my outer world can be nothing other than a reflection of my inner world, I can only express in love, health, career, and money that which I am. My relationships can be nothing more than the love I feel within. My health is identical to my attitudes about health. My success mirrors the amount of loving service I give, and the flow of money into my life is in mathematical proportion to the amount of money I am giving. My outer life, which is the totality of my daily experiences, is in perfect balance with my inner consciousness and is an excellent indicator of who I am. To be a finer person, to continue to grow toward the greatness that is awaiting each of us, let us give more in all areas of life, for the secret to increased living lies in increased giving. The Great Depression. One of the many excuses that some people use for not having more money is the Great Depression. They came through the depression of the 1930s, financially burned, perhaps wiped out, and still have vivid memories of that devastating experience. Since then, their subconscious minds have been programmed by thoughts and feelings of lack. The very mention of money is like pushing a red button within them, arousing new fears of financial lack. Although the Depression was the greatest economic disaster in our nation's history, it is important that we keep it in perspective. At the Depression's worst, 25% of the workforce was unemployed. That is huge unemployment. However, that also means that 3 out of every 4 people in the workforce had jobs. Let's take the attitude that regardless of recession or depression, you and I will always be a part of the workforce and never be unemployed. Lack versus abundance. Lack is a degrading and humiliating experience. Lack fills prisons with thieves who thought they had to steal in order to feed themselves and their families. Lack creates addictions as people escape to alcohol and drugs. Lack can leave an entire nation vulnerable to the corruption of communism, as communism never thrives in an affluent society. Whereas lack is degrading, abundance gives us a feeling of dignity, a sense of self-esteem, self-achievement, and self-worth. The universe is abundant, and we are an integral part of that universe. Therefore, any degree of lack acts as a denial of that universal abundance and a denial of our very being. Forgiveness is the answer. Never condemn another person under any circumstances, because all condemnation is self-condemnation. You may say, "You expect me to forgive him for what he did to me?" Yes, an emphatic yes. Again, you may ask, why should I do that for him? You aren't doing anything for the other person. We do all things for ourselves. Perhaps some of you grew up in homes where unfair advantage was taken of you, and to this day, you have not forgiven your father, mother, sisters, or brothers. To this day, you may be holding resentment. Resentment may be festering inside of you, eating away like a cancer. Forgiveness is the only answer to your problem, the only key to freedom, the only avenue to happiness. All day, every day, practice silent forgiveness for each person toward whom you still hold any resentment. A powerful exercise. Here is a powerful exercise for greater enthusiasm. Several times during the day, sit quietly with your eyes closed, silently thinking the word enthusiasm over and over again. Prolong the ooh sound within enthusiasm, because that's where the power lies. Over and over again, repeat the word enthusiasm. This will permeate your entire body, because the nerve network carries every mental message to every point of your body. In your imagination, visualize a beautiful white light at the base of your brain, at the back of your neck, the enthusiasm center of the body, as you silently repeat enthusiasm. Vividly see that bright white light at the back of your neck. This exercise will fill your day with energy and excitement. Indicator of maturity. One of the most valid indicators of maturity is the ability to accept responsibility for our actions and experiences. When we realize that our thoughts are the cause of our experiences, we will accept full responsibility for each moment of our lives. We need only to change our thinking to change our lives. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create actions, and actions create our experiences. If I am experiencing a health problem, I need only concentrate on health ideas. The health ideas will stimulate positive emotions, and these emotions will motivate me into putting the health ideas into action. The next time you find yourself bemoaning any situation in your life, quickly remind yourself, I must be getting something out of this, otherwise I would change it. Words are seeds. Every word in our language, in our vocabulary, has within it all that it needs to bring itself into manifestation, into demonstration, into physicality, into being. You can say that about enthusiasm, joy, praise, gratitude, love, or even money. By taking any word and repeating it over and over, silently or aloud, we set up vibrations which, in turn, create a magnetism that attracts whatever the word represents. Do you remember when the federal government decided to declare war on poverty? War on poverty became the battle cry throughout the nation. Millions of people were thinking about and talking about war on poverty. Suddenly, inner city after inner city erupted in civil war. So much for the word war. And what about poverty? We have more people on welfare today than ever before. Each word is a seed which creates after its kind. Watch your thoughts and your words carefully, and your life will take care of itself. Trial and error. When we come to a crossroad on the highway, we don't spend a lifetime wondering which road to take. We start down one road, and if it proves to be wrong, we take the other road, the epitome of simplicity. Life is nothing more than trial and error. Each decision we make is based upon the information we have at that moment. There is no need to rush into a decision. Simply, here are the accumulated facts, and this appears to be the right decision. You will soon know if it was the correct decision. If not, simply change course. Above all, don't regret past mistakes. Regret builds guilt. Guilt destroys self-worth, and self-worth is the pinnacle toward which all human beings aspire. Join the ranks. Since enthusiasm is one of the major differences between mediocrity and greatness, I find it strange that so few people work on, express, or radiate enthusiasm. You can sense a genuinely enthusiastic person because enthusiasm radiates its own special kind of electricity. The retired president of the New York Central Railroad said, in looking back over his long career, the thing that made the great difference between just getting through life or soaring to the heights was enthusiasm. He said that he had hired many people from whom he had expected outstanding performances, but most had disappointed him and themselves. He saw others who seemed to have much less promise explode with enthusiasm and accomplish great things, while more educated, highly intelligent people watched in amazement. Those who soar like eagles, who get excited, are the people who get things done. Let's join their ranks, starting today. 3 important steps. There are 3 steps which lead to the eradication of guilt. First and foremost, you must want to forgive. Until you reach a point of wanting to forgive, nothing is going to happen for you. The only thing that could keep a person from wanting to forgive is ego, pride. Pride is the great mistake that every human being can make. The individual who is filled with pride, not pride of workmanship but ego, is constantly building destructive guilt. That guilt will block the flow of energy and ideas quicker than anything else. It will suffocate the spirit of spontaneity within you. The second step is the practicing of silent forgiveness of self and others all day, every day. Even if you do nothing more than silently repeat the word forgiveness, you will make an important impact on your life. The third step states that having diminished guilt through forgiveness, work on filling yourself with gratitude by silently repeating the words thank you over and over again. These 3 steps will bring you greater happiness than you could possibly imagine. The Master Teacher. Let's speak for a moment about the Master Teacher, the Carpenter of Nazareth, the greatest person who ever walked the earth. Imagine him being dragged through the streets and then being nailed to the cross while being jeered by the masses. Was he filled with condemnation and resentment? Did he shout back at his accusers? No. He said, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." And instead of feeling abandoned by God, he said, my God, how you have glorified me." In his agony, he was filled with gratitude and held no condemnation against those who were crucifying him. You and I are far less put upon, less tested. Therefore, we should be able to forgive anything that any other human being does to us. And having forgiven, let us too follow his example and be filled with gratitude. The money source. When you think about the source of your money, the most natural thought would be an employer, customers, clients, or patients. Instinctively, these would be the answers for most, and all of these answers would be wrong. It is important to realize that everything comes from within us. Where does love come from? Love returns to us measured in the amount that we radiate out. Does health come from doctors and prescriptions? No. Health emanates from within us to the degree that we concentrate upon health and all that it entails. And, finally, financial success is within us. To the degree that we pour out loving service, will money come pouring back to us. Love, health, success, and money are nothing more than a mirrored reflection of whatever is within us. The universe can only mirror what we give out. Guilt. Guilt is an extremely important topic. In fact, guilt and fear are the only 2 things that can stand between us and whatever we wish to achieve. Of all the words people use in their vocabulary, the one word sin has created more guilt than any other word. A simple little 3-letter word called sin. It's difficult to believe that such a tiny word could do so much damage. Yet those people, of whom there are many, who say, "That's a sin," or "Do you realize you just committed a sin?" are creating feelings of guilt within themselves and, frequently, within the person to whom they are speaking. Anything that cuts us off from creative energy and ideas is wrong, and guilt severs that connection. Determine right now that your mind will no longer be a home for guilt of any kind. Controlling personality. Down through the ages, great thinkers had maintained that we are born with a certain personality and that we remain fixed in that personality throughout life. Then, around the turn of the century, the psychologist William James started propounding the theory that if we will act a certain part, we will become that part. Derision followed William James wherever he lectured and taught the theory that to act differently means that we shall be different. Test William James's technique in your own life by experimenting with enthusiasm. Regardless of how you are feeling at this moment, start acting enthusiastically, walking and talking enthusiastically, and feel the actual valid feeling of enthusiasm surge through you. Act the part and you will feel the part. Whatever you feel, you become. Nature abhors a vacuum. Do you remember the expression from high school physics? Nature abhors a vacuum. Create a vacuum in your life and the universe will rush in to fill that vacuum with the things that you currently need. Create your own vacuum by going through all of the storage areas in your home and business, disposing of things that you no longer use, things that are cluttering up your life. Since the universe permits no voids in our lives, it will do all in its power to rush in and fill the vacuum you have created with things that you need and want. The giving away of things you no longer use is like closing a door on a completed chapter of your life. It is impossible to close one door without another door opening and beckoning you to walk through into the next, more exciting chapter of your life. Positive emotions. By expressing positive emotions, we take charge of our lives. Since the subconscious mind cannot be occupied by more than one emotion at a time, negatives are dispelled by infusing, contriving, and practicing enthusiasm and gratitude. But we have to do it. Nobody can do it for us. We have to make the decision. We have to make the choice. It is our responsibility to choose positive emotions because we influence and make an impact on those around us. By hosting a negative, such as depression, we depress those around us. By choosing love, enthusiasm, joy, and gratitude, we extend a beautiful gift of life to others. Laughter heals. The theory that laughter heals the body is gaining even wider acceptance. Physiologically, I believe this is why it works. We move toward illness as tension builds within us. Layer upon layer of tension becomes stress, and stress tears down the body. By laughing, even if it's contrived laughter, we diminish tension before it builds into stress. All day long, tension keeps building. Someone cutting in front of you in traffic, someone saying something that annoys you, an important decision that must be made. Tension, tension, all day, every day. The faster our world moves, the greater the tension. By frequent laughter, even contrived laughter, tension is dispelled, health is restored, and joy will fill your life. Missing the mark. It's important to remember that the word sin means nothing more than mistake or missing the mark. And when we miss the mark, we simply realign our sights and aim more carefully. That's all. Nothing more than that. If you're a hunter and you miss the target, do you give up your hunting career? Are you racked with guilt and self-condemnation? Of course not. You aim more carefully and fire again. During the day, when you make a mistake, don't storm around in anger, self-condemnation, and guilt. Simply say, "So, I missed. Next time I'll aim more carefully." No negative emotions, because negative emotions create negative actions. In fact, be grateful for each time you miss. Realize that each miss is bringing you that much closer to success. Enthusiasm and power. Down through the centuries, teachers have thought that the enthusiasm center of the body is at the base of the brain. the point where the brain elongates into the spine. Why would the creator locate an emotion center, as important as enthusiasm, in a remote place such as the back of the neck? Because he wanted it adjacent to the power center of the body. Enthusiasm and power need to be adjacent in order to complement each other. Most would guess the body's power center to be the heart-lung area, the solar plexus, or the reproductive organs. But the actual power center of the human body is the fragile voice box. The voice box is where words are formed, where words flow through, and words are creative. And the Word was made flesh. Nothing was ever made, is now being made, or will ever be made, without first having been a word. Whether it is an unspoken idea or an actual spoken word, that is what creates everything that is created or has ever been created throughout eternity. Watch your words carefully, and your life will be whatever you wish it to be. An exciting discovery. If you have never used the vacuum law of prosperity, you are in for an exciting discovery. First, make a survey of all of your storage areas at home and at work. These will consist of garage, closets, pantry, desk drawers, file cabinets, etc. Next, start cleaning out one drawer at a time, one closet at a time, and one part of the garage at a time. You will discover many things that your conscious mind has forgotten. However, your subconscious mind never forgets. All of these items that you haven't used for years are part of your inactive life and are like silt plugging up the culvert of your subconscious mind. Then give these objects to some worthwhile charity. You are thereby doing several important things. First, your gifts are planting seeds which will bring you a harvest of prosperity from the most unexpected places. Second, you are cleansing the debris from your subconscious mind and are opening it to a new flow of increased energy and ideas. Third, you will feel youthful dynamism, unlike anything you have known in years. A major cause of problems. It's amazing how many of our problems stem from not having enough money. Let's go down the list. Love problems. A beautiful marriage, and suddenly there is a shortage of money. Tension builds, accusations, a gradual breakdown in communication, and the stunning end of a beautiful marriage, all because of a lack of money. Health problems. How many people procrastinate with their health problems, hoping their symptoms will go away, hoping to save money, but often incurring an ailment far more serious and far more expensive, again because of a lack of money. Career problems. Worried about money, perhaps frightened about a lack of money, therefore productivity in sales or business is impaired, making the financial situation even worse. This too from a lack of money. And finally, the fourth area of life, which is itself money. If there is a lack of money, all four areas of life, love, health, career, and financial success, can be seriously impaired. Keep money in its proper perspective by not exaggerating its importance. On the other hand, never minimize money, because money represents an important part of our freedom. Everything is forgivable. Without a doubt, resentment will prevent you from achieving success and happiness. If, at this moment, you are holding resentment against any person, dead or alive, you are denying your loved ones the love they deserve. When we have any unforgiveness within us, we are unable to live totally. Those magnificent children of yours, that spouse whom you treasure, all are being partially deprived of your love if you are holding a grudge against any human being. Resentment is an actual emotional block within you that permits a diminished amount of love to flow through. For the sake of your family, those dearest to you, forgive anyone whom you believe has wronged you. It doesn't matter how serious it was. Everything is forgivable, and this is your day to remember those people against whom you still hold resentment. See them vividly in your imagination and silently repeat from the bottom of your heart, I forgive you. Denying your goals. Whether it is a personal relationship or a business person involved in a transaction, The guilt-ridden individual will do the most inane things to deny himself a goal. Did he consciously plan to fail? No. It was simply that the feeling of "I don't deserve" predominated at the crucial moment. During this day, and each day from now on, spend a few minutes silently repeating to yourself, "I forgive myself," over and over. As you repeat these words, feel them acting as an eraser, erasing guilt and revealing an even more beautiful you than you had ever previously imagined. Keeping score. We make a great mistake when we keep score of what we give others and what they give us, because scorekeeping is not our responsibility. The universe is constantly keeping score of all giving, treats it as a planting of seeds, and returns a harvest to each of us in strict accordance with our gifts. Gifts can take wrong forms. Each thought we think becomes a part of world consciousness, and each emotion we feel does the same. Every word we speak and every act we perform becomes a part of us and our sphere of influence. And the seeds of our thoughts, words, emotions, and actions are returned to us in the form of daily experiences. Our responsibility is to monitor our thoughts, our words, our emotions, and our actions, because life can only return to us what we send out. Think of the universe as one huge, faithful mirror, reflecting back whatever we hold before it. What are you holding before your mirror today? How do you see yourself? Have you ever stopped to realize that we are and act exactly as we see ourselves to be? As we act, so will our life unfold. Therefore, it is of the utmost importance that we see ourselves more loving, healthier, more successful, and more prosperous. Seeing ourselves gradually improving is identical to looking into a mirror. Whatever we hold in front of that mirror is faithfully reflected back to us. Life, too, is a mirror reflecting in our daily experiences precisely what we see to be true about ourselves. Attitudes. Your attitudes about yourself determine how life is treating you, because life will always treat you the way you treat yourself. You are the best friend you will ever have. Be extremely kind to yourself, and the mirror of life will reflect back love, health, success, prosperity, and enduring happiness. About the author. About the author. The late Mr. Foster Hibbard was one of America's most sought-after speakers on the laws of success. Foster Hibbard attended the Phillips Academy at Andover, Massachusetts, along with Jack Lemmon, William Buckley, and George Bush. Foster was the poor boy of this rich people's prep school, and it was there that he began to determine that he could somehow acquire the knowledge of the wealthy that his more privileged peers had grown up with. Foster excelled at Andover and was awarded a scholarship to Yale University, from which he subsequently graduated in 1950. Foster served in the United States Infantry in World War II and received the Bronze Star for heroism at the famous Battle of the Bulge. Foster's early business experience included a career as a broker with the New York Stock Exchange. The education that Foster values most highly, however, is his lifelong research in the methods available for unleashing human potential. Foster has studied all the major religions and success philosophies of the world, and is one of a very small number of Americans to have personally studied and lectured with Dr. Napoleon Hill, author of the classic best-selling book Think and Grow Rich. Today, Foster is internationally recognized as one of the foremost authorities on success philosophy in general, and the Napoleon Hill philosophies in particular. It is highly probable that there is no living author-lecturer with more research and background to support his teaching than Foster Hibbard. Foster Hibbard's files contain volumes of testimonial letters representative of the hundreds of thousands of people who have benefited from his dynamic energy and inspiring seminars during his 25 years as a professional speaker. Thank you for listening. This audio version of Success Seeds was read by Jason Marionoff of Australia. If you are interested in buying or selling other Foster Hibbard audio programs, please contact me via my website at www.awakeningabundance.com.au. Once again, that's www.awakening, abundance, abundance.com.au. Thank you. And now it gives me great pleasure to include some words spoken by Mr. Foster Hibbard himself. Enjoy.
Enthusiasm. You'll never have the success you want without working on enthusiasm, without taking the word enthusiasm and making it a part of you, without saying over and over and over again until it just becomes a part of every cell, tissue, and fiber of your body, till it tingles, scintillates, sets up a vibration called enthusiasm, 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 and taking words like get excited, get excited, get excited, whipping yourself up, standing before the mirror, using that technique that Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, Andrew Carnegie, Billy Sunday, Napoleon Hill, all insisted were, of all the techniques, self-improvement techniques they ever tried, all insisted that the mirror technique was the most powerful. Just to stand there in front of that mirror, tell yourself, your door carefully closed, tell yourself, I am enthusiastic. I am enthusiastic. I am enthusiastic. Over and over again. Tell whomever is looking out at you from your mirror, whomever you see in that mirror of yours looking back at you, and it doesn't really matter who it is, just tell that person over and over and over again, enthusiasm, enthusiasm. Get excited, get excited, get excited. Work on enthusiasm. Work on it as though it were a physical program. You wouldn't expect your muscles in the stomach would tighten without doing muscle exercises. You wouldn't expect the muscles in your legs to improve unless you did leg exercises. Therefore, accept the fact that these emotional, these mental exercises must be practiced, must be worked upon in order to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in developing the particular consciousness for which you aspire. Joy. Joy. Here we are, every one of us today, here for the same reason. Every one of us interested in increasing one or more areas of life. Interested in greater love, interested in greater health, interested in greater success, interested in greater affluence, more money. And joy is the number one universal law of increase. The number one universal law of increase is joy. So the degree of joy that I experience decrees whatever it is I have in my life in the form of love, health, success, and money. So work on joy. How tragic that we human beings would have to practice contriving laughter when you would think it would be the most normal, natural thing in the world. So, in the privacy of your room, practice laughter. Practice laughter. Practice laughter.